Hear ye, hear ye. You are listening to an old-timey podcast. I'm Kristin Caruso.
And I'm Norman Caruso.
And on this episode, James Garfield runs for president. Part 2.
We're ready to party. We're ready.
What?
I hope you bring lots of
is this
spaghetti.
a Garfield song?
It's the Garfield and Friends theme
Oh
song.
my God. What if, just to be a dick, I was doing this series, and in the middle of it, people are hooked because, you know, they just have to be. I do just an episode about Garfield the cartoon. Totally in the middle of this
and
series.
you say, "Oh, I confused my notes. I've got a future doing a future episode on the Garfield and Friends cartoon show from 1994."
So, folks, a lot of people don't know that the American people elected a cartoon cat for president, but the 1800s were weird.
Oh, you got your notes all mixed up. It's really intermingled.
Oh my gosh, I'm ready to go. But okay, no, you've got stuff to say.
Yeah. Tap the brakes. Tap the brakes there, Missy.
I've got no brakes, and I'm going down a hill.
Yeah, because I have to tell a very troubling story to our listeners.
Oh.
You know, the other night, you and I were getting ready for bed in the bathroom.
Okay, I don't know that this is appropriate.
We were both at the double vanity.
Uh-huh.
I bent down to get a Q-tip out of the drawer, and that's when you unleashed
Norman.
The most earth-shattering belch of all time.
Norman. This is all true. Also, how dare you add that to the soundboard? Now people are going to be calling for us to get rid of the soundboard again.
Well, this is what the people wanted, okay?
Ew, stop.
So, listen, in a matter of seconds, I was trapped inside the noxious fumes of your burp. It was like a spicy combo of black beans and
it was black beans,
some
soup,
onion.
To be fair, I belched and then you put your face into it, so you kind of came into my zone.
The order of operations, you know, it's questionable what exactly happened, but either way, I was trapped inside the noxious fumes. My eyes were watering. I couldn't see. I was like grabbing something that I could hold on to. But luckily, we had the bathroom fan on. It swooped it right out of there. But I was very upset by the whole experience. But Kristin, do you know what lifted my spirits?
What?
Knowing that our listeners can support this small, sexy, independent podcast for only $5 a month over at patreon.com/oldtimeypodcast.
That the whole time I was like, how does this lead to people paying us $5? And I don't know that you did a great job tying that thing together.
Kristin, do you understand what people get for $5?
I don't.
They get access to our Discord chat and the entire catalog of old-timey bonus episodes with full video. And right now, we've got 22 of these bad boys.
Oh.
In our last bonus episode, Kristin's father taught us about consensual sex.
Oh, my God.
It was incredibly
mortifying.
Sexy times.
Oh.
So please consider supporting us over on patreon.com/oldtimeypodcast.
Incredibly enlightening.
And help me heal from that traumatic belching experience. Thank you. Kristin, take it away.
I just want to say, when a grown man goes to the zoo and he jumps into the gorilla cage, are we really going to be mad at the gorilla for what happens next?
You're saying I entered your natural habitat where you belch out loud and breathe in all those fumes?
You came into my cloud, buddy.
Yeah, you do this in public too?
No,
belch and fart.
No.
And if someone's like, oh my, and you're just like, well, you walk near me, buddy.
This is the privilege of being married to me, okay? You're welcome.
I do love being married to you.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah.
I love being married. Okay, now it's cheesy. It went from
getting
gross
cheesy.
To cheesy to give us $5. We're off to a weird start with this episode. But this episode's kind of weird too.
Why is it weird? Well, I guess I'll find out, huh?
Yeah. You ready?
Previously, what? Norman?
You don't have headphones on. You can't hear it.
Everyone?
Hang on, I gotta turn it off right now because you're talking. Okay.
Everyone, we're not wearing headphones anymore. Oh man, see now if I do an episode that's about Garfield the cartoon cat, they'll be like, well, this makes sense. She is very stupid.
Oh man, Kristin mixed up her notes again.
Okay, let's try that again.
Previously on an old-timey podcast.
Senator-elect James Garfield went to the 1880 Republican National Convention where he made a speech nominating some other dude for president, but surprise, 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 through no real desire of his own, James Garfield himself, oopsie-daisy, became the Republican nominee for president. But his nomination pissed off some very important Republicans, namely Ulysses S. Grant. He'd already served 2 terms as president, and it hadn't even occurred to him that he wouldn't get a 3rd term. It wasn't fair. He was taking his cannonball and going home. But no one, and I mean no one, had a bigger poopy booty attitudey than New York Senator and political boss Roscoe Conkling.
Poopy booty attitudey.
I'm so proud
I'm
of
adding
myself
that to my
for not
repertoire.
He was mad because, hello, he'd told everyone who to vote for, and he hadn't said Garfield. Roscoe Conkling was mad. But how mad was he? Well, at the end of last week's episode, when Roscoe Conkling was having an absolute crash out, one of his cronies, nay, his yesiest yes man, a dude named Chester A. Arthur, a man who'd never once held political office, came to Roscoe with big news. He, Chester A. Arthur, had been asked to run as James Garfield's vice president. Using our good friends' facts and logic, one might think that Roscoe Conkling had been thrilled to hear that one of his political henchmen had been asked to join the presidential ticket. But was Roscoe Conkling man enough to see that this was, in fact, a big win for him? Or was Roscoe Conkling the type of guy who said, "No, I didn't think of this idea and that means it's bad. Let's find out together, shall we?" On this week's episode, James Garfield campaigns for president. Will he win? The results may shock you.
I don't know if they're going to shock anybody.
Yeah, if you're dumb, they're going to shock you.
If you don't know anything.
If you know literally nothing about this story and you didn't have one of those cool posters of all the presidents in your elementary school classroom, then this is going to be a surprise.
I remember reading those posters and feeling sad when I saw that, James Garfield only had 1 year under his little portrait.
Well, spoiler.
Oh, shut up.
I've always been fascinated by the presidents.
Yeah, I'm just saying I felt sad when it was like they only had 1 year and young Norman was like, what happened to them?
And then your teacher took you aside and said, I'm going to give you a 12-part series on this. Don't worry, folks, it's not going to be 12 parts. But, who knows? I don't really have it mapped out too well.
One time I proved my teacher wrong in social studies class.
Oh, boy. I bet you weren't smug about it at all. What happened, Norm?
Everyone stood and clapped.
Okay, I'm sure they did. I'm sure.
No, honestly, I can't even remember what we were talking about, but I mentioned, it's weird that, like, on our currency, it's all presidents, except Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
And my teacher was like, Benjamin Franklin was a president.
Oh, Lord. This was a social studies teacher?
Yeah, in middle school. And I was like, no, he wasn't. We had the presidential poster on the wall.
Oh, this teacher.
And she was like, go to the poster and show me Benjamin Franklin on there. And I walked up there and I was like, because, obviously I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong, but
sure.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't president.
This is the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She has the poster in her own classroom.
That's right. So I took my little finger and I scrolled through the poster and he wasn't there. And I was like, yeah, he's not on here. She went and looked at it and she was like, oh, okay, yeah, my mistake. You're right. And the classroom cheered and applauded me.
You almost said in the audience.
I did almost say in the audience.
We all salute you, young Normie C.
Thank you. That's probably the coolest I've ever felt in school ever.
Absolutely. And it was sharing a fact. All right, here we go. But oh, wait, fellas, could we tap the brakes for just a minute? In the wake of the surprise nomination, James Garfield wasn't really prepared for the sudden spotlight and scrutiny of a presidential nomination. Neither, for that matter, was his kind of introverted wife, Lucretia, or their 5 children. But that was too bad.
Lucretia.
I kind of like it.
That's a name.
He called her Crete.
Crete.
Which sounds like a little bug, but kind of a cute little bug. Don't you agree?
It kind of sounds like creep.
Oh. No, I am I weird? I kind of like Lucretia.
It's a good old-timey name. Lucretia also kind of sounds like secretion, too. That's nasty.
Huh. I guess you're right. Well, all right. Well, we're on an unexpected tangent here. I'm going to ask you to keep your secretions to yourself so I can tell this tale, all right?
Well, here's the thing. We can't judge because, Kristin, you have a...
What?
You have a distant relative whose name was Gooch.
My family tree is filled with really unfortunate names, last names and first names.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got pretty normal ones like Joseph or Julian.
Tried and true. We got creative on my family tree.
Elizabeth. And then you come in with Liner Gooch.
Yeah. It's bad enough the last name was Gooch, but you name your son Liner?
Mm-hmm.
My God, how stinky. Anyway, thanks to that fantastic speech he'd given at the Republican National Convention, the eyes of the nation were now on James Garfield and his secreting family. That's enough. That's my only one. People wanted to know all about the dark horse candidate who'd taken the Republican National Convention by storm. And so, ready or not, here we come. The presidential campaign of 1880 took off.
Ready or not, here I go.
Oh, I wondered why you looked so excited. It was almost like you were going to run for office.
Hell no, I would never run for president.
Oh, it'd be hell. Ugh. In a lot of ways, the presidential campaigns of old-timey times were a lot like the ones we still have today. There 'twas political theater, fun slogans, posters, mean political cartoons. But wait, there's more. There was also hand-wringing over mostly made-up scandals and downplaying very real scandals and so many trips to Iowa.
Wait, were there a lot of trips to Iowa?
That was a joke.
Well, you got to tell me to save you. We can't be spreading misinformation on this podcast.
I thought people would kind of know that was a joke.
Well, as you said earlier, Kristin, some of our listeners might be really dumb. They don't know anything about this story.
Okay.
I did have a question, though.
Yeah?
The presidential campaigns back then, obviously today with like the internet and the new 24-hour news, campaigns can feel like they last years.
Oh, they feel like they're always happening.
Yeah.
You know, in Europe, they have rules about this shit, which...
Right.
Oh, my
which
God.
we should really bring over here.
Yes.
But unfortunately, politics has become a form of entertainment over here. It makes a lot of money. But let's not get into all that.
I listen to this podcast for the history, not for your weird political asides, sir.
You're right. We've gotten this feedback before. Apologize. But I'm wondering for 1880, when was he nominated? August?
I think it was June.
June. Okay, so his campaign was really 5 months.
Yeah, it was a quick one.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not at all. God, love it. Could we go back? You know, the one major thing.
Well, I don't think we should go back to everything from 1880.
That's not what I'm saying,
Kristin.
Norm. All right. The one major thing, sir, aside from what you brought up, good grief, the one major thing that set old-timey... Are you...
Sorry. I don't think there's anything wrong with separate but equal. As a white woman, I can't vote, but you know what? I don't think I deserve to vote.
I'd probably mess it up anyway.
I mess it up.
You know, every time I go to a voting booth, I go to cast my vote. my titties get in the way and my tampon falls out.
Yeah.
And it's pure chaos because a bear smells it and then a whole mess of bears come running and it's just a mess. And that's why maybe we should go back to old times.
Yeah.
Because until women start going to the polls with bear mace, what are we doing?
Yeah. Women on their periods voting. You're attracting all the bears. Innocent people are dying. Okay.
This is real. This is real. Everyone, in case you couldn't tell, we've had kind of a weird day. Oh, we're good. We're good.
All right, let's get back on track.
It's an evening
here.
recording. We're a little loopy. It's a Friday night. Woohoo, we're partying. We're podcasting. Our coolest moments were when Norm corrected a teacher in middle school, and my crowning achievement was probably something to do with making my high school yearbook. We're very cool people having a great Friday night.
Absolutely.
We hope you enjoy listening to this. Anyhow, back to the sentence that I've tried to say 5 times now. One major thing that set old-timey presidential campaigns apart from modern presidential campaigns, Norman, was that back in 1880, it was seen as undignified for a presidential candidate to actually, travel the United States.
Yeah.
Ew, campaigning for presidency.
Yeah, you sent your little lackeys out to campaign for you.
No, you want your big lackeys. You want
the little ones
small,
too.
medium, big. You want them all. Yes, it was up to the other people in their political party to campaign on the candidate's behalf. But oof, that was tough for James Garfield. His candidacy had proven that the New York political machine wasn't, in fact, all powerful. But that machine still had a lot of juice. So if James Garfield wanted even a shot at winning, he had to walk a political tightrope. Because, as you may recall, the Republican Party was at war with itself over the spoils system. One group, led by Roscoe Conkling, believed in the spoils system. That system allowed the winning political party to fill every government position with their closest friends and donors.
I believe in the system that benefits me the most.
It made for a spicy, homegrown blend of grass-fed corruption, hormone-free nepotism, and an adorable mason jar of entitlement. But Norman, not everyone appreciates house-made ketchup. And that other group had this insane notion that government positions should go to people who actually, deserved them.
Qualified?
Yeah. And James Garfield, I hate to tell you, he was one of those people.
That son of a bitch.
Thank you. He wanted civil service reform. In fact, he wanted a lot of things for the country. But in order to actually do those things, in order to really make an impact, he had to first win the presidential election. It wouldn't be easy. He needed some of the spoil system boys to campaign on his behalf, but not so many of them that the civil service reform boys would think he was a great big phony. In short, James Garfield was like a young girl making her way through adolescence, trying not to get labeled a stuck-up prude or a slutty slut, hoping to navigate it right down the middle, not knowing that even if he stuck the landing every single time, inevitably, someone was going to call him a skanky bitch.
Wow. I have a question.
Yes?
Was James Garfield name recognition at this time? Was he well known to the public, or was he more of a inside baseball kind of name? Okay,
so I'm going to say he was fairly well known, and we'll get to some of this stuff later. He kicked major Confederate booty hole in a battle in the Kentucky Derby. Some people just call it Kentucky. I call it the Kentucky in Kentucky. So he really rose to fame through that. And then he'd spent 20 years in Congress where this dude gave speeches on everything.
Yeah.
So, and also he was kind of,
sexy.
Pretty, is robust the word I want to use?
Robust.
Yeah, maybe that's the one I want to use.
Okay.
Now, I guess people were drooling over Roscoe Conkling. That's what they tell me. But I'm saying, have you seen James Garfield? Give me a break.
Well, hey, let's see him shirtless.
I'd love to.
Wow.
There was no doubt about it. James Garfield was in a real pickle. Because even though the Republicans had held the presidency since the Civil War, they did not have this election in the bag. And that was thanks, in large part, to the fact that when Reconstruction ended, the federal troops who had once ensured that black men could vote in relative peace had been removed from the South. And now black people in the South, who were overwhelmingly in favor of electing James Garfield as president, could not safely cast their vote. And even if they could, there was a decent chance that their vote might, oh my goodness, it was here a minute ago. What happened? Oh, I guess it didn't happen.
Yeah, or, they were given tiny ballot boxes where...
Yeah, your Robert Small series...
If you want a good overview of like the bullshit that Southerners did to black people during Reconstruction and after Reconstruction, listen to that Robert Small series.
Yeah, the teeny tiny ballot box, as far as voter suppression goes, gets my vote for funniest. Terrible
the funniest
thing.
way to suppress votes.
Funniest terrible thing to do.
This polling place is closed because the ballot box is full because it's tiny.
So tiny. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just picturing some really gross stuff.
Stuff it in my ballot box.
Okay, that's enough.
It won't fit.
Okay, hang on. We have to save ourselves. This is really
There's no
weird.
saving this episode. We've already messed it up. So, it would be a close race. The Republican Party was divided. The Democratic Party was united. And some weirdo third-party candidate was talking about implementing an 8-hour workday. What a loser. I guess people don't want to work anymore.
Wait, who was that?
I didn't write down the guy's name.
You didn't write down a presidential candidate's name?
He was a third party. He got nothing. Clearly, this was a good idea, but he was ahead of his time. No one voted for him. Norm.
It's people like you that are the reason we will never remember the name Ralph Nader. He'll be forgotten in time because of people like you.
He did great things for seatbelts. I remember.
Remember Gary Johnson? Ran in 2016 against Trump and Hillary.
Are you talking about the guy who didn't know who Harriet Tubman was?
That's right.
That's
right.
I think we can forget him, and I hope he remembers to go to a library. Anyhow.
Or he can listen to an old-timey podcast, because future topic, Harriet Tubman for sure, right?
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Norm. There's no time.
Okay.
I've got to finish the
All right,
Garfield
I'll shut my
series.
mouth.
That would be great. I've also got to finish the cartoon Garfield series. It's a whole thing.
Our nephew will be thrilled you're watching Garfield. he's on a real Garfield kick now.
They just have to make sure he's listening to the right episodes. James Garfield needed people in his corner, and he did have support, but he needed a lot more. He needed dudes on his side who could give a speech. He needed dudes with name recognition. He needed former President Ulysses S. Grant.
Ooh, that's a big ask.
What, a big ask?
Well, yeah. Grant's probably a little salty. He didn't get nominated.
Are you kidding?
He's getting older.
We all are.
Oh, wow.
Well, okay. I mean,
when you get older, maybe you don't want to do as much stuff. But he is a party guy. He will support the nominee no matter what. So you're right.
If he's too old to give a couple speeches for a guy, then he was way too old to even consider running for a third term.
Hang on a second. Okay.
I am mad at Ulysses S. Grant, and I know you have a boner for him, but,
Listen,
mm-hmm.
If somebody's like, you have an opportunity to become the president,
mm-hmm.
that's a big deal.
Yes.
And maybe you don't consider your age as much because you're like, that's a huge thing. Yeah, I'm going to go for president. But if someone's like, hey, I'll give you $10,000 to give me this speech, maybe Grant's like, is that worth my time? I think I'm going to chill at home. See what I'm saying?
No, I do not. I don't. I think...
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Uh-oh. Hang on, let me get the soapbox.
Yeah, get a big one and then get another one and put it on top of it. What I want in a president and what I think is actually something that should be expected of that office
Mm-hmm.
is that the person who gets it is an adult. And not just an adult, but someone who behaves in a way that shows folks how to act.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who can be a role model.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, this is just part of being high up in a political party. If you truly believe that your political party is going to do the most good for this country that you say you care about a ton,
Yeah.
that you have dedicated your professional life to, and in a way your personal life, because, you know, when you get this high up, it probably all blends,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, you congratulate the other winner.
What if it was rigged?
Well, that would really suck.
Well, I'm saying a joke.
Oh, okay. Okay, then let's... You congratulate the winner and you show your support. And of course, you're sad you didn't win, but you still congratulate. If we can expect, oh man, you weren't kidding about the soapbox. If we can expect children who play a soccer game to go shake hands at the end of the game with the people who defeated them,
Yeah.
why can we not ask the leader of the fucking union? This man's dead. Why am I? Anyhow, I'm just saying this is something that I think should be expected.
Well, and like it usually happens.
I think it's embarrassing not to, really.
Yeah, I mean, whoever the nominee is, the party should rally around the nominee. That is usually how it works.
And if you genuinely think my party messed up in picking this nominee, then okay, go ahead and pull back.
Sure.
But he didn't really think that. He was just a poopy butt baby.
So wait, did Grant say no?
Hang on,
We don't know the answer yet. So wait, Grant said no?
No, hang on. You just encouraged me to get on a soapbox, and I really didn't want to, but I did it anyway. So he needed Ulysses S. Grant.
Yeah.
And he also, oh Lord, there's no easy way to say this, he needed Roscoe Conkling.
Yes, because he was quite the cog in the machine.
And he was really good at giving speeches.
Yeah. He sucked on a damn lemon during the convention.
Who could forget it? Who knows what it means? We're still not sure, but we won't forget it.
We've had a few people in the Discord give their theories as to what that meant.
What?
So we've got our best people on it.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
We're still analyzing the results. Okay.
People loved Roscoe's turkey gobbler strut and his very cool hairdo. He was funny in a kind of bitchy, sarcastic way, which I don't personally enjoy, but some people might support on Patreon. And you might think that it would be
Kristin.
natural for the leadership. Now I'm reading from my own soapbox. Hope you enjoyed that speech. So when Garfield's campaign got underway, Ulysses S. Grant felt so sorry for himself that he just fucked off to Arizona and stared off into the sun and was sad for a while.
He did the Michael Scott on The Office after he got roasted. He fed the pigeons in the park.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in fairness, it is not accurate of me to say that he just didn't lift a finger, because the only thing that Ulysses S. Grant hated more than the fact that he wasn't the one running for president was the cocky little fence-riding dipshit who the Democrats were running for president. That man's name, do you know who it is?
Oh, shit.
You seem like you know.
Shit.
Oh, you see?
Oh, I'm having a brain fart.
Uh-oh.
I should know this. I'm such a bad person. Okay, who is it? Because I'm like...
Winfield Scott Hancock.
Yes.
You know this man?
Yeah, he was a Civil War general.
Well, yeah, I know it now. I'm impressed. So many of these names to me, brand new names, brand new fellows, meeting them for the first time. Okay, Ulysses and Winfield had beef. Serious beef. Join me, won't you, for a treacherous trip down memory lane. They'd known each other since their days at West Point. They'd been such good friends. Once, Ulysses had been so proud of his little friend's leadership during the Civil War. But then, during Reconstruction, old Winfield got sent down to New Orleans, where he proved himself to be quite the Confederate sympathizer when a mere 2 years after the Civil War ended, Winfield was like, wow, it's actually really great here. Black people are being kind of dramatic about needing federal protection. So how about we let all the folks who wanted to literally destroy the United States of America go back to running the city?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'll do a great job. They've been super nice to me, a white guy. What he did in New Orleans was super controversial. Controversial to everyone who loved the United States, but actually really heroic and cool to all the former Confederates. Ulysses S. Grant had been royally pissed off at his old friend Winfield. So he called him out. He was like, hey, Winfield, you're a general, dude, for the Union. Why, years after the war, do you now have a bulge in your pants for the Confederacy? Winfield responded, and brace yourself, this is ridiculous.
Direct quote?
It's a direct quote, but I'm going to censor myself for obvious reasons.
Oh, no. Is the N-word involved?
You betcha.
Oh, my God. All right.
Winfield responded by saying that he was, quote, opposed to N-word domination.
Mm-hmm.
You agree?
No, but Andrew Johnson, who was the president during that time, there's a reason Winfield Scott Hancock was sent down there.
Yeah, so Ulysses, it's funny you mentioned that. This conversation happened when Ulysses was warning him about President Johnson and saying, hey, that dude is a Confederate sympathizer. And Winfield was like, let me take my mask off. I am too.
Surprise!
So Winfield says that shit to Ulysses. And Ulysses responded, and I'm going to paraphrase here, N-word domination. You think that 4 million ex-slaves who have no access to education and no property are going to dominate 30 million white people who have all the access to education and own all the property? To quote Angelina from Jersey Shore,
hello? Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah.
Wow, right?
Yep.
So yeah, Ulysses S. Grant couldn't quite bring himself to really, truly campaign for James Garfield, but he was more than willing to talk shit about that piece of poo Democratic candidate, Winfield Scott Hancock. He told the media exactly what he thought of that guy. He called Winfield, quote, ambitious, vain, and weak. And if you're wondering, what headline did the New York Times use when they published that story? I just said it. Ambitious, vain, and weak.
Ouch.
Yeah, he did not respond.
You know, if that's what it takes for Grant to get involved, like just pure hatred for the opponent, then sure.
But if
got to
you
do what you got to do, right?
If you know a guy that bad, is that close to the presidency, get out of Arizona where you're, I don't know what you're doing. Well,
he's
probably
feeding the pigeons.
Drinking. And get on the campaign trail for Garfield. He has plenty of lasagna, hates Mondays. What's not to love? Oh, poor James Garfield. He really needed more support. But even his own vice president, Chester A. Arthur, kind of couldn't be bothered. It was kind of a funny thing. Chester Arthur hadn't been James Garfield's choice for vice president. In fact, he'd wanted someone else, but that dude had been so scared of pissing off Roscoe Conkling that he'd said no. In fact, a lot of guys who would have probably done a fine job as vice president were scared to join the ticket because they didn't want to make Daddy mad.
Well, wasn't Chester Arthur kind of a compromise for the spoils system guys? Because they're basically like, well, we'll just make him do whatever we want.
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah. That's the only, why else would you put Chester on this? We're going to learn more about him, and you're going to ask even harder and louder, why else would we put him in charge of anything?
Yeah, he's a useful idiot. Although Chester Arthur is,
I've got a little soft spot
he's
for him.
underappreciated. He actually, like, for someone who never held public office,
Yeah.
honestly didn't do that bad of a job.
On this podcast, I pledge to overappreciate him. I've got a soft spot for the fella. We're going to learn more. Stay tuned. So it was kind of funny that Chester Arthur, of all people, had taken the job. By all accounts, he should have been the most terrified of Roscoe Conkling's wrath. A few years earlier, he'd risen to prominence when Roscoe installed him as the collector for the New York Customs House. That had been a very lucrative position.
Oh, yeah.
But Chester had been very publicly removed from that lucrative position when Rutherford B. Hayes tried to do some civil service reform.
Kind of like what happened to Robert Smalls.
Yeah. In other words, Chester Arthur was just a guy who had no experience in elected office and who had risen to mild infamy by being spoiled rotten by the spoil system. It was like grandma's in town every day. He had no business being on this ticket. But at the Republican National Convention, when Roscoe Conkling had been sulking in a corner, licking his wounds, the leadership of the Republican Party had asked Chester Arthur if he'd run as Garfield's vice president. As Norm just predicted, they knew that Garfield needed the involvement of the spoil system boys if he had any hope of actually winning the election. And so, Chester had gone to Roscoe. He'd given him the news. I've been offered the vice presidency. And Roscoe had gotten mad. He'd told him not to accept. He referred to James Garfield as a trickster. He predicted that his presidential campaign would end in failure.
But he's the nominee. The hell's he going to do?
What do you mean?
I mean, we were talking about throwing your support behind the candidate. Like, what's Conkling's alternative here?
Well, here's the thing. And here's why I'm not mad at Roscoe Conkling. He is who he is. He is who he says he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's a piece of shit. I don't expect a piece of shit to be a piece of gold.
Well, and I guess, like, he's probably like, I'm secure in my senatorial position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if this sucks, I'm still senator. I'm still pulling the strings with the party. And people are going to be like, Conkling was right, if it all fudges up.
I actually think you're giving him a little too much credit.
Really?
I don't think you're totally wrong. But in this instance, I think he's just throwing a temper tantrum. Truly. Because there's no way that it would be better for him for a Democrat to be in office.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So even though it's funny, I mean, when someone's immature enough, they will act against their own best interest if it means getting, like, I don't know, a little revenge against somebody. He just can't be the bigger person here.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like a high school
musical where they're just about to sing.
No, it's like Chester A. Arthur runs up to Conkling and it's like, oh my God, Cody asked me to the dance.
Uh-huh.
But Conkling, doesn't want Cody and Chester A. Arthur to be together. So he's like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Norm,
I heard Cody's kind of a slut.
Why do you keep bringing your fanfic into this series? You did it last week.
Oh yeah, when James A. Garfield was pressed up against the wall.
Explained how two men could sleep in a bed. Head to toe. We don't understand what you meant.
Feet.
Yeah, head to feet.
Head to feet.
Yeah,
and I couldn't remember the word headboard or footboard.
It was a real mess. Chester Arthur owed a lot to Roscoe Conkling. And it's reasonable to say that he liked the guy. Chester liked a lot of folks. And a lot of folks liked him. He told jokes. He drank dark liquors. He was a good time. But that day, Chester Arthur got serious. He told Roscoe Conkling, I didn't come here to consult you on this.
Ooh.
Holy.
I just came to tell you.
It was unreal that Chester Arthur was willing to go against Roscoe. Who knows why? Maybe it was his ego. Maybe it was the fact that as fun and gregarious as he could be, Chester was still reeling from his wife Ellen's sudden death. She'd passed away earlier that year while he was away on business. Political business, oddly enough. He put fresh flowers by her picture every day. They'd been married for 20 years. And he struggled in the wake of her death to find any reason to go on. But maybe this thing that was so much bigger than himself or his party or his allegiance to Roscoe Conkling, maybe this was why he was still here. Maybe this gave him meaning. That day, talking to Roscoe, Chester Arthur got quiet. And then he said, "The office of the vice president is a greater honor than I ever dreamed of attaining. A barren nomination would be a great honor. In a calmer moment, you will look at this differently." And Roscoe said, "If you wish for my favor and my respect, you will contemptuously decline it."
What a little baby back bitch.
Chester wasn't having it. He said, "Senator Conkling, I shall accept the nomination, and I shall carry with me the majority of the delegates." Roscoe stomped out of the room. And Chester did exactly as he said he would. And now, with Garfield's presidential campaign underway, Chester Arthur did some stuff to help the campaign, but not too much stuff. You don't want to overdo it. Instead, he bought a lot of clothes. You know, that's kind of a key part to this, just buying clothing, okay?
Gotta look good.
Absolutely. Chester was loving his new position in life. Now, he was famous now, and not for that other thing about getting a position that he hadn't earned and then getting thrown out of it. Now, he was famous because he was running for vice president.
Yeah.
Neat.
And like, I feel like Garfield and Arthur weren't too familiar with each other.
Right.
When this whole thing went on. And this is during old-timey times when, like, the nominee didn't choose their vice president.
Right.
Yeah, so awkward.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's my understanding that James Garfield wasn't even really consulted on who his vice president would be.
Yeah.
It's interesting. In those days, they had 3 hours between nominating the president and picking the vice president.
Yeah.
Which, okay. And if you'll recall from last week's episode, James Garfield spent a lot of time sitting in a chair, staring into space, and wanting to leave. So I don't know that he was really in the headspace to pick a guy for VP.
No, I mean, he was shocked he was made
Yes.
the nominee for president. 3 hours later, like, by the way, Chester A. Arthur is going to be your vice president. He's probably just
who?
like, all right.
Yeah. In the meantime, Roscoe Conkling gave some speeches, and they were really good, absolute bangers, but it was almost as if he thought he'd be struck by lightning if he mentioned James Garfield's name too often. So he steered clear of that, just only mentioned it a few times. This was all pretty frustrating for James Garfield. He felt kind of ignored, not just by key members of his political party, but by me for writing a script about his presidential campaign and only just now starting to talk about him. Norm, what minute are we on?
51.
Good grief! How rude!
Yeah, the disrespect is unbelievable. Now, he did some campaigning, though, on his porch, right? He's a big porch guy.
Okay, spoilers. All right, just hang tight, sir. Sit in that rocking chair and I'll tell you all about it. The fact that James Garfield had to rely on other people to campaign for him was kind of hard on him. Even though the good Lord above hadn't yet invented microphones, James Garfield loved making speeches. He loved getting out and talking to people. And he really felt like if people wanted to know how he felt on an issue, he'd rather tell them directly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But as I've said, that sort of thing simply wasn't done. But you know what was done? Showing up at a presidential candidate's actual home and expecting to talk to him and his whole family.
Hey, when Lincoln was president.
This is nuts. This is nuts.
Yeah, the lack of privacy.
Zero privacy.
Boundaries. It was
no
like
boundaries.
Non-existent.
Security, no. Don't need them. Why would we need them? President Lincoln's assassination was more of a war thing, so it's not really a president thing, so we don't need to do anything.
Yeah, well, they're like, oh, that was like an anomaly. That was like...
Right.
Yeah.
And I agree, because I haven't read too far in these books.
Well, and even Lincoln had security and guards, just like not like today.
No. James Garfield and his family had a place in Washington, D.C. from all his years in Congress, but they also had a farm back in Mentor, Ohio. And so, with the presidential campaign underway, the Garfields did what they always did in the summer. They went back home to their farm.
In Mentor?
Did I say it wrong?
I'm just curious.
Oh, no.
These small towns across America, they are spelled one way, but maybe not pronounced that way.
I always feel secure, though, when I'm not talking about some weird city in Massachusetts. Looking at you, Worcester. What? You are kidding me. Mentor, spelled
It's pronounced Menor. I knew it.
People, I'm going to spell this for you. Please be on my side. Mentor.
That's literally how you spell the word mentor.
And according to the internet, these folks in Ohio, they drop the T. Okay, well, Norm.
I told you.
I'm glad your spidey senses said this wife of mine did not Google this word. She's too confident, and she said it, and it sounds weird. Okay.
This little wife of mine, I'm not going to let her shine, because I'll call out her bullshit every time.
All right, Menor, Ohio. I'm sorry, I don't have beef with the place, although maybe I do. So they're back at the farm, and that is how the American people learned who James Garfield really was.
A fat orange tabby cat. I'm not voting for this. Ain't no rules say the cat can't be president.
I like the dog better. This is so stupid.
Odie? I want Odie to be president. That was Winfield Scott Hancock's nickname.
Shut up.
Odie.
Uh-huh.
Winfield Scott Odie Hancock.
It was kind of astounding. The Garfields had a very modest farmhouse, not far from where James Garfield had grown up. So, as he was running for president, he and his family spent that summer working the fields, tending to their crops, managing field hands, and when members of the public just showed up to see him, and they often did, James Garfield went out on his front porch and talked to them. What took place that summer and fall was essentially a front porch campaign for the presidency.
Hell yeah.
Reporters later nicknamed the Garfield property Lawnfield, and the name stuck. People came to Lawnfield in droves. They talked, they gawked, they listened. They took literal ears of corn from the Garfield family field as souvenirs.
Hey, whoa.
That was our lunch.
Yeah. Well, and like people were there also to ask for appointments too, right? They were like, "Hey, you want to make me the ambassador to Canada or something?"
To Mentor, Ohio, which they keep the T. It's a different town where things are done right.
God, that would be so annoying. People coming up asking for all these.
Well, early in the campaign, that didn't really happen. Mm-hmm. It was mostly congratulations, want to get to know you, nicey.
Yeah, but as like the campaign heats up,
Norm,
it's coming.
I'm telling the story, okay, buddy?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry for having an interest in this story.
Just from the story you told at the top of the show.
What story? The Belch one?
No, we don't remember that because it's being cut.
This one?
There's no time for that story. No, about being like, I'm actually a teacher, and you were right. Okay, hats off to you. But Norm, I'm in charge right now.
Hang on. I'm going to defend younger Norm here.
Okay. No, you were totally right.
Well, the teacher tried to actually me.
Yes.
So let's get one thing right here.
Okay. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Franklin was a fine president.
Well, okay, I'll let you say that because it only makes you look stupid. I disagree. He was not president. But go on, Kristin.
It was fun. Fun for everyone, kind of. There was just something about James Garfield. He seemed so real, Reporters were allowed into the house, and they were amazed at all the books he had, books in every room, including the bathroom.
This guy's got a lot of books.
They saw him interact with his children. One time, one of his youngest boys shouted, "Go Hancock," during one of his speeches, and everyone was like, "Oh!" And James Garfield saw it was his kid and just laughed. He and his wife, Lucretia, it just seemed obvious. They really loved each other. Like, really loved each other. Not just for show, not just for some weird campaign thing. They had a love that they'd fought for and earned and now enjoyed. There was something, maybe if people weren't lucky enough to relate to, maybe something they found aspirational and comforting about a presidential candidate who was capable of creating and maintaining that kind of love. What would that mean for the nation? What would that mean for the future if this man, this smart, capable man who forgave and sought forgiveness and loved and was so dearly loved in return, actually led the country?
Yeah.
Americans in 1880 had been through a lot. They'd weathered massive changes. Railroads, iron, coal, technology was evolving, medicine was evolving. Everything was moving so fast. There was fear, but there was also hope. There was hope in James Garfield's own life story. People couldn't help themselves. They gobbled it up. The man who was now running for the highest office in the nation hadn't always been so powerful. He'd risen from nothing. He was proof that the American dream was real.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I mean, it was very, it was a reason why Lincoln was so respected.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the same deal.
Very early in his presidential campaign, biographies popped up about James Garfield. They told the story of his father, Abram. Abram had moved out to Ohio from New York in the early 1800s, not too terribly long after it joined the Union. He'd struggled. He'd helped build the Erie Canal. He married a smart, educated, and, as would soon become evident, remarkably strong woman named Eliza. They had 5 children. 4 survived infancy. James was their youngest. And Eliza gave birth to him, the future president, in the one-room log cabin that Abram had built himself.
Spoils. You said future president, but we're not sure if he wins. So thanks for that, I guess.
James Garfield wasn't even 2 years old on the day that the woods that surrounded the family home caught fire. By that point, his father was 33 years old. He was strong. He was capable. He'd worked so hard for the land he called his own, for the cabin that sheltered his family. He knew what would happen if he didn't stop that wildfire. He would lose everything. So Abram worked. He worked like a madman, cutting down brush, clearing the area, working strategically, quickly. There was no time to rest. Everything was on the line. And then, finally, by the grace of God, he did it. He was exhausted, but he did it. He'd saved his farm. He'd saved his home. He'd saved his family. Oh my! But it had been too much. The fight had depleted him. Abram Garfield got sick. He'd been a young, healthy man when that fire started. And now, days later, too far from a decent doctor, Abram Garfield died. Eliza became a widow with 4 children to care for. It was too much. She fell into debt. Faced with no other choice, she sold off some of the farm. And she worked and worked and worked. The oldest child, Thomas, was 11 years old. He had to work too, nonstop. Eliza knew that if she couldn't find a way, if she couldn't eke out a way to survive, she'd lose what little she had left, her children. This was an era before social safety nets, where parents, unable to afford to care for their kids, sometimes had to make the heartbreaking decision to give them away.
Oof.
Somehow she managed to keep her little family together, but they had a really hard life. Later, during the presidential campaign, the people who wrote about James Garfield's childhood sometimes tried to romanticize it. This idea of coming from nothing, of constant struggle and hunger, of not having shoes in the Ohio winter until he was 4 years old, of being fatherless and penniless and mocked for his old threadbare clothing. Other people romanticized the poverty that he'd grown up in. But James Garfield never did. Not once. He saw nothing idyllic about a child struggling to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I really respect that. I think when you're running for office or really just being a human, I'm sure there are parts of your life story that people might cling to and say, oh, look at this. This was good. This is what made you who you are today. And aren't you kind of blessed by it? And I imagine in that setting where you're wanting people's votes, it might be a little tempting to be like, sure, whatever it is you like, yeah. But that really, I think that would do a lot of harm. It would also erase the fact that in many ways he was fortunate to ascend the way he did.
Yeah,
and he knew most people didn't. And there was no
Right.
glamour in that.
Right. I think there are two types of people. If they grew up in poor conditions,
Mm-hmm.
there are people that get out of that and they say, oh man, that was really tough, but I got out of it and you can too. And then there are other people who get out of it and say, ooh, that was hard and no one should have to live like that. And I
Yeah.
want better for people.
Yeah.
And James Garfield was that type of person.
Definitely.
Yeah.
His background did strike a chord with the American public. How many people could relate to that struggle? And how many people could admire what happened next? At 16, James Garfield had left home to become a canal man.
Oh, yeah. What an old-timey tradition. A young man sets off to work on the canal. Our last series on John Colt. He did some canal work.
It sounds terrible. I mean, it's tough work, it's dangerous, and the work nearly killed James Garfield.
Yeah, I mean, it almost killed John Colt, too. But, like, canals were going up everywhere. It was, like, good money, but, yeah, it was hard work. It was really the canal era of the U.S. Taylor Swift has her little eras.
Oh, okay.
The U.S. had their canals.
I'm sorry.
Era.
It took me a second to understand
Eras
why
tour.
Taylor Swift was factoring into this story.
It's a really stupid reference.
No,
I'm sorry.
no. Keep your confidence, Norm.
The Taylor Swift canals era. Yeah, she said, I'm done singing. I'm going to work on the canal for a while.
Wouldn't that be a change? He nearly drowned when late one night he fell overboard. That experience scared him. He went home and he nearly died again, this time from malaria. But when he regained his strength, his mother gave him $17. That $17 had been nearly impossible to save up, but she'd done it. And she wanted James to use it to go to school. She believed in him. She believed in his intellectual capacity.
Wow.
And that money changed his life. He enrolled at the Western Reserve Eclectic Institute, now called Hiram College, which I think is a bad change because Western Reserve Eclectic Institute is cool.
Eclectic Institute is a terrific name.
I feel like I'd get into an Eclectic Institute.
Absolutely. They take one look at you.
James couldn't. That was rude. Ruder that it took me a second. But I'm here, baby, and I'm offended. James couldn't afford tuition, so he worked out a deal with them. He would work as the school's janitor, and they'd waive his fees.
Man, I love that, and I wish that was available to more students like today for like higher education. It's just
I don't know.
It's just college has become so expensive.
See, I think it should just be way less expensive. I think that this just seems very uncomfortable potentially. Like you're trying to be a student and you're also the janitor there. It made him feel uncomfortable.
Really?
Well, yeah, put yourself in his shoes. Everyone else can afford to go there and just be students.
Yeah, I guess that would be uncomfortable.
And he literally, like, he'd go to class and then, it was his job to go ring the bell. So he'd have to leave class and go ring the bell.
Yeah, this is some, like, Goodwill Hunting stuff right here.
I mean, I was about to romanticize it. God, it's tempting. I was like, maybe it builds character. But I just think that that'd be a really tough thing to do. And why put somebody through that when all they're trying to do is learn? God, this is becoming a socialist podcast just by the minute.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And you know what that means?
What?
Communism.
Uh-oh. Here we
Because
come.
we all know communism and socialism are the same thing.
You heard it here first on an Old Timey podcast.
That's right.
A funny thing happened after a while. He put in all this work into his studies. He loved learning. He was so curious and interested in everything. He discovered that he was kind of competitive, actually. He loved mastering a subject, and maybe there was some satisfaction in that.
So he could get satisfaction, unlike Mick Jagger.
Yes.
He couldn't get no
Good
satisfaction.
grief. Taylor Swift, Mick Jagger.
Yeah, I'm just throwing shit at the wall right now and seeing
we
what
can
sticks.
all tell. No, maybe there was some satisfaction in being underestimated, not having the advantages that the other students enjoyed, but still beating everybody in every subject.
Oh, yeah, I'd have a sense of pride with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because his mom had always instilled in him this idea that, hey, no, we don't have what we'd like to have in life. But what we do have, we've earned, and we've earned it honestly. And that means that you can look anyone in the eye. Anyone in the eye. I think that's obviously a good lesson. I think it's one thing to be told that, it's another to believe it. And it feels like it was at this part of his life when he really believed it about himself. The following year, the school promoted him. He became an assistant professor.
Jesus. Like that quick?
Yeah. Later, he attended Williams College in Williamston, Massachusetts, which I assume I'm pronouncing correctly. I hope they keep the T's in there.
It's actually Williamston. You fucking fana.
And again, he found a challenge. Everyone was so smart. He had so much to learn. Oh my gosh, he was so behind the curve. But he did it again.
Oops.
Shut up. Oh my God. Walked right into that one.
This is what we in the podcasting world called flooding the zone. you just put a ton of stuff in that episode.
Something for everyone.
Something for everybody. It discombobulates you.
He gained more confidence. After he graduated, he went back to the Western Reserve Eclectic Institute, where at just 26 years old, he became the president of the institution where he'd worked just a few years earlier as the janitor.
Man, I'm inspired right now.
I know. And from there, holy hell, someone must have attached a rocket to his ass, because when an Ohio state senator died, someone asked James Garfield to take the man's place in the upcoming election. And he did. And he won. But then, like 12 seconds later, the Civil War broke out. And oh my God, that was pretty exciting, because James Garfield wanted to fight. And this was how James Garfield really made a name for himself. He was named colonel. He recruited a bunch of young men, many of them his students, to join his regiment. Truth be told, James Garfield was just a young guy who'd never seen war. But like any dude who watched Saving Private Ryan a few too many times, he was ready to go to war!
Hey, hit dog will holler. But anyway.
That was a mean joke aimed to harm my husband, and it hit.
Thank you for that. I will also say, though, during this time, to serve and fight and possibly die was like a big honor for a lot of young men at that time.
Yeah.
Well, it was like an adventure. A lot of these people, they'll never leave their hometown.
Sure.
They'll live there their whole lives. And yeah, you have this war where it's like, oh my God, we have to save the Union, and I could rise to like be a hero in this battle to save the country. Yeah, it's a huge honor.
Yeah, and a big part of that was that Saving Private Ryan was screened nationwide. And
Kristin.
people, it's about the Civil War is what that movie is
I'm not talking about Saving Private Ryan, which came out in 1998 and should have beaten Shakespeare in Love at the Academy Awards.
1860. I'm sorry, what? His first assignment was to take his regiment to Kentucky to kick some Confederate ass.
Ooh, I wonder if he fought against William Quantrill. That was a guy that Jesse James rode with.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they did some stuff in Kentucky. I wonder if Garfield encountered
Good
him.
stuff, bad stuff?
You know, I'm going to have to look
medium?
into that, but I think they did bad stuff.
I just spat on my own chin. That's a talent. Unfortunately, James and his boys didn't stand a chance. The group of Confederates waiting for them in Kentucky were no joke. There were 2,000 of them. They had 4 cannons, tons of ammo, and no offense, but their leader had this thing called experience. He'd graduated from West Point, okay, not some eclectic reserve or whatever.
Who was the Confederate in charge of
Norm,
Kentucky?
I'm going to be totally freaking honest with you, okay?
What? Okay.
Total freaking honesty. I told you last night I was worried that my section here about James Garfield's earlier life was too long.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I do today? I went in and I really looked for things that I thought we could lose. And the thing I definitely thought we could lose was some freaking Confederate dude's name who's never going to come up again. And this is the one question you have asked me.
I was just curious.
No, fun fact about me. I delete stuff from the main page, but I am so attached to stuff that I keep another document called scraps. So let me see if I've got in my scraps.
Let's check Kristin's scraps for some juicy nuggets.
Okay, here it is. Brigadier General Humphrey Marshall.
Never heard of
See,
him.
yeah. I knew I could cut him out of here.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Humphrey Marshall, whose name we shall now say 5 more times to summon him from the depths of hell. Sorry, I'm just assuming.
Do the Humphrey. Come on. Do the Humphrey Marshall.
Dun, 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 do the hump.
So he had some experience, went to West Point, so he was ready for James Garfield and the boys.
That's right. And he was about 20 years older than James Garfield. So he was more experienced in every way imaginable.
Probably served in the Mexican-American War.
He didn't have to watch Band of Brothers. He'd lived it.
Okay, there's a lot of things wrong with that joke, but continue.
It was annoying the shit out of me that you kept like saying other stuff because I was like, I have another insult to throw at Norman, and he's just delaying. What? You big fan of Band of Brothers? You watched it ever?
It's a fantastic
like 12 million
series.
times?
Yeah, Band of Brothers is great.
Everyone, if you're wondering what Norm is doing right now as you listen to this episode, he's probably watching Band of Brothers or Columbo. It's one of those two.
I'm on a Columbo kick right now. Thank you very much.
So the Confederacy had all the stuff. Meanwhile, James Garfield's little group had 1,500 people, no artillery. They should have been demolished. But what James Garfield managed to do at the Battle of Middle Creek made him a legend. Though he was outgunned and outmanned, he outwitted the enemy with a ballsy plan. And I'm calling it ballsy. It's one of these things where if it hadn't worked, it would have just been called stupid. But, you know, here we go.
Sure.
He stayed up all night studying maps, and he came up with this plan, a 3-pronged staggered attack designed to confuse the Confederates. He knew he couldn't just beat them. He had to confuse them.
Absolutely. Well, so he was outnumbered?
That's what I just said.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to throw some chaos in here to win.
I feel like that's what you've done for this episode.
Yeah, exactly. You got to flood the zone. You got to go balls out, right, Kristin? Garfield was balls out
That's
during
what
this
I
battle.
once said on a podcast episode, and it's a totally normal thing to
but
say.
that was for running a yellow light.
Yeah.
You got to speed up and go balls out.
That's what you have to do. Everyone knows it.
Right.
The strategy worked. The more experienced leader of the Confederacy, what was his name? We don't even remember now. He panicked.
Humphrey Marshall.
Oh my God. He figured, based on the fact that Union soldiers seemed to be coming at them from all sides, there must be tons of them. So he retreated. It was a major victory for the Union. The Union held Kentucky. And that mattered a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, it was
to
a border
President
state.
Lincoln.
Yeah, it was a border state.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal. that was like one of his number one priorities. Like, I got to keep the border states.
Yes.
Which is why Missouri was a Union state. Technically.
Well, on paper, yeah.
Technically, it was a Union state, but when Marshall surrendered, was he like, I'll say, there are so many Union soldiers here.
We unfortunately don't have the audio.
Damn.
We only have a photo of him running with a stain on his breeches. And, they wore the gray ones.
himself.
Yeah, they wore the gray ones, right? So it was easy to see. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. And there was James Garfield on his horse with his balls resting on the saddle of the horse.
Well, that's just the way
he was balls
fellow
out.
will sit. Okay. Oh, yeah, balls out.
Balls
okay.
out.
I'm sorry. I assumed trousers on, but yeah, very good.
Mm-hmm. And that also confused the enemy.
That would be very confusing.
Sir,
what are they going to do to us?
They are charging with the testicles out.
Ew, let's go. Get out of here.
Homophobia is what helped keep the Union together.
If there's one thing we hate more than black people, it's gay people in the Confederacy.
Oh, James Garfield. This is not funny. James Garfield knew immediately the power of what he'd done. But when that battle was over, and when it was clear that his risky but brilliant strategy had paid off, he stared out at the land in front of him. It was littered with bodies, dead bodies, the bodies of young men he'd led into battle, dead bodies of young men who'd been his students, and the dead bodies of young men who'd fought for the opposition, enemies a moment ago, and now just dead men. That scene never left him. That feeling of victory and tragedy, good and bad, so close together, close enough that they almost blended, like you almost couldn't have one without the other. I think it shaped him. As a result of the Battle of Middle Creek, James Garfield became kind of famous. He was named Brigadier General, and within a year of that battle, he got elected to Congress.
Often they didn't refer to men as brigadier generals because it was like, it was kind of awkward to say and too long of a title, so they kind of just said Briggy G.
Oh my God, I was like, where's he going with this? Is he really taking this long to just say general?
They said Briggy G Garfield.
And that's where he stayed for the next 20 years in Congress. But oh boy, now as a presidential candidate, he found that his long track record was a blessing and a curse. He'd spoken out on all the issues. He'd voted on all the issues. And good Lord, he'd given so many speeches. By contrast, his Democratic opponent had never held a political office. He'd been a military guy for his entire career, which meant that technically he'd never taken a public stand on too much of anything, which meant that maybe he could appeal to anyone. Blank slate, baby. I'll write your name.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she's still here. She's been here this whole time. That's the magic of Taylor Swift. It's at this point, though, that we must all tip our top hats to the Republicans who did something very sassy to make fun of the Democratic candidate's lack of experience. Picture it. They created a pamphlet, a beautiful pamphlet, and they titled it Hancock's Political Achievements. And inside, when you opened it up...
Blank?
Completely blank. People had no trouble figuring out who James Garfield was or what he stood for. His record proved again and again that he wasn't just anti-slavery. He was adamantly in favor of Black people having rights, protection, liberty. That did not go unnoticed. Frederick Douglass, a man born into slavery who emerged as a powerhouse in the abolitionist movement, campaigned hard for James Garfield. This election mattered. It mattered a lot. If the people wanted the country to move forward, they needed to vote for James Garfield.
Well, and Douglass witnessed what happened when Hayes was president and Reconstruction ended.
He also witnessed it through his real life of growing up in slavery. So, he saw the whole thing.
Right, but I'm saying, like, he was seeing progress.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so painful.
And then, it's, Paula Abdul 2 steps forward, 2 steps back.
Will someone, some good history, please keep a tally of the people who Norm has brought up in this show that absolutely should not be here? Paula Abdul.
2 steps forward,
next?
2 steps back.
I mean, that's true, though. In fairness, James Garfield was also outspoken about very boring issues. He was a big fan of the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who could forget? Okay, we're all going to remember his 2-hour-long speech in 1868 about currency.
It was a fucking banger.
I'm sure none of us have forgotten a word of it, which is why I won't even get into the details.
Everyone's got the audiobook version, okay?
As Election Day neared, James Garfield's campaign picked up steam. So many people pitched in to give speeches, to lend their support. That was great. It was very badly needed. It would be a close race. But as the campaign came to a close, James Garfield's wife, Lucretia, got concerned. She was no dummy. In fact, she had a good head for politics. And unlike her husband, who kind of had the personality of a golden retriever, Lucretia was more of a black cat.
Good boy. James Garfield.
She sat back. She studied. And what she noticed was a disturbing trend. People who had been so sweet and supportive throughout the campaign were now, as Election Day neared, getting entitled.
Mm-hmm.
To the victor go the spoils. People hinted, and some outright demanded, specific positions that James Garfield should give them if he won the election.
By the way, you mentioned to the victor go the spoils and where it came from. You were right. It came from the spoils system.
Excuse me, sir. You seem a little too surprised that I was correct about something. So
Well,
let's take that again. And this time, seem like you're defending me against my haters.
For all of you assholes out there who were questioning Kristin about where the origin of the phrase "to the victor go the spoils" came from,
I've got a lemon. I'm sucking on it right now.
A lot of these, haters online were saying, "Oh, that's an ancient Roman phrase."
Yeah, some people were saying that, very rude ones. But now you are here to defend
And so
me.
I said, "Well, I'm here to stick up for my wife," and Kristin is correct. It did come from the spoils system.
Wow, Norm.
Early 1800s. Very good.
Balls out defending his wife from himself last week. Okay.
I mean, I was just asking questions. I was just curious. I wasn't hating or anything.
Norm, thank you for being so heroic. Back to Lucretia. Lucretia was noticing these changes. And I want to read to you now a letter that she received in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Bear in mind, this is a letter from some random woman she has never met, never heard of, no clue who she is, lady from Wisconsin. This is a portion of the letter that this woman wrote
Okay, I'm getting
to
the
a
mindset.
potential first lady.
Okay, let's hear it.
Quote, thinking your husband will be elected president this fall, I take liberty to advise you and ask you to intercede with him on behalf of my husband in obtaining the position of postmaster. P.S. Please do not make this affair public, as he has had enough to contend with now in being a Garfield man, and it might interfere with his business.
That's all the letter said?
Well, I didn't read the whole dang thing, but to me, this speaks volumes, because we're going to get to Charles Guiteau in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we look back on him with modern eyes, everything about him seems ridiculous. And of course, yes, but it was a common thing for people to be ridiculous about this stuff.
Yeah, to me, that letter seems totally normal for the time.
This woman is clearly saying, my husband's not actually a Garfield man. I've also sent it to that Hancock fella with the same message of, don't tell anybody. Why would we tell anybody, you random lady? Anyhow, the letter gave Lucretia a creepy feeling, this grabbiness. It was happening all around her, from friends, from acquaintances, from total strangers, from people who had genuinely helped with the campaign, sure, and many who hadn't. She didn't even know that a strange little man named Charles Guiteau had spent the last few months worming his way into the upper echelons of the Republican Party. or trying to,
I
at
was going to
least.
say.
Charles had a way of unnerving people. Something about him wasn't quite right, but he was so sure of himself, so sure of his own power, so high on grandiosity that he knew all of his efforts to secure James Garfield's presidency would pay off. He was sure of it.
Yeah.
Soon enough, it was time to vote. James Garfield went to sleep, and when he woke up, he got the news. He'd won. He'd won the presidency by a thin margin. Millions of people all over America rejoiced. This was huge. James Garfield, the man who'd come from nothing, raised by a widowed mother, was about to become the 20th president of the United States. It was incredible. It had all led up to this. So many people were so happy. But James Garfield, the man who'd won, was sad. Sad in a way that he found hard to explain. It was an honor to win the presidency, but it was also a loss. He was losing the life he'd known, the life he'd loved. James Garfield loved working on his farm. He loved playing with his kids. He loved being with his wife. He loved reading. My God, did he love reading? And there wouldn't be time for all of that, at least not as much of it. As the election results sank in, he struggled with the knowledge that this new chapter of his life was going to be so different. It would take him away from home, away from what comforted him. He was happy, but he was also mournful in a way that he struggled to explain to even those closest to him. Because being named president, it felt, in a way, like a death. On next week's episode, beep, 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 breaking news. Charles Guiteau has just requested full credit for what happened in this week's episode. But who the hell was he, and what exactly did he do on the campaign trail? Find out next time on a brand new episode of an old-timey podcast.
Beep, beep.
Beep, beep. Oh, we're also going to find, this is going to sound boring. I promise it's not. We're going to find out all the shenanigans that went down when Garfield tried to assemble his cabinet. And I know that sounds like a snoozer, but someone gets kidnapped, so you'll want to listen.
Oh, man, a kidnapping?
Yeah, except I feel like, I've always felt like kidnapped is a weird word for adults, so it's a man-napped. Well,
A man napped?
That just sounds like an afternoon. Yeah. You're going to have to listen.
I was man napping earlier today.
It was appalling.
My husband's been man napped. Yeah, taking a little snooze on the couch. Excellent job, Kristin.
Thank you.
Covering Garfield's rise to the presidency. I wouldn't have been able to sleep on election night. I'd be wired.
Yeah, you do wonder. I mean, on the one hand, it's like, okay, I've done all I can do.
Yeah.
But did they have melatonin back then? I don't know.
I bet he ate a big old plate of nachos and zonked out. That would knock me out. Kristin, I do have one thing I'd like to talk about before we end this episode. I actually have a mistakes to shame.
Mine or yours?
Mine.
I'm only interested in yours.
I made a mistake. I read it in the Spotify comments, and I was like, oh, shit.
Okay.
How could I make this grave error? So
Okay.
hang on. Mistakes of shame. So last week, I said, Kristin, the only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little bit of extra.
Yes, and I was very inspired.
Mm-hmm. And I said I stole that from the movie Office Space.
Right.
It's actually not from Office Space. It's from the movie Waiting.
So you stole it and didn't even give credit.
No, I did not cite my source correctly, so I apologize.
Oh, on behalf of all the history hoes, we are appalled.
Mm-hmm.
Extra appalled.
Yeah. So this has been another exciting, shameful segment of Mistakes of Shame.
Well done, Norm.
That's all I got.
This was a fun one.
You got a little goofy, yeah.
That's okay, because you know what? I don't know if you know what's ahead of us, but it's going to be some not so goofy stuff. So we should have fun where we can.
A not so goofy movie. Very sad.
Uh,
I wouldn't mind another goofy movie.
Why? What do you need another Goofy movie? What does the world need another Goofy movie for?
Listen, the Goofy movie's like a donut. Get one, I'm like, ooh, that was really good. And then they have the sequel, an extremely Goofy movie. So like, someone handed me another donut. I was like, oh, well, that was good. So keep handing me donuts. I'm going to eat them and enjoy them.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Who can argue with that? Are you ready to wrap up?
Let's wrap it up. Kristin, you know what they say about history hoes? We always cite our sources.
We sometimes do it correctly, like Office Space or Waiting, or what was it? Panda Brothers?
Yeah, okay. Did you say Panda Brothers?
No, I said Band of Brothers.
They said Panda Brothers.
Panda Brothers is also a war film, and we think it's disrespectful because it's cartoon bears. Anyway, that's right. For this episode, I got my information from the book, The Destiny of the Republic, A Tale of Madness, Medicine, and the Murder of a President by Candice Millard. The book, Dark Horse, The Surprise Election and Political Murder of President James A. Garfield by Kenneth D. Ackerman, plus reporting from PBS and the New York Times. Plus more. Check the show notes for a full list of our sources.
That's all for this episode. Thank you for listening to an old-timey podcast.
Please give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. And while you're at it, subscribe. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/oldtimeypodcast. Join the Reddit community, r/oldtimeypodcast. Follow us on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram at oldtimeypodcast. You can also follow us individually on Instagram. I'm at Kristin Pitts Caruso and he's at Gaming Historian. And until next time, toodaloo, ta-ta, and cheerio. Bring Judge Judy back.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
See ya.
Yeah.